How old were you when you discovered that mummification has nothing to do with the preservation of dead bodies? Yes, you heard right. We all thought mummification was done to preserve the body, but it turns out that's a lie that spans centuries. A museum exhibition earlier this year showed that the long-held misconceptions of mummification weren't true, and that the elaborate way of burying the dead was actually a way to guide the deceased toward divinity, that is, to become demigods themselves. Researchers from the University of Manchester's museum in England highlighted this common misconception that has been taught wrongly for a very long time. So, how did this false idea stay around for so long? Well, it started in the West. Victorian researchers, to be precise. They wrongly thought that ancient Egyptians preserved their dead in the same way we preserve fish. We know. Sounds really weird, but it's true. And they had this reasoning because they observed that both preservation processes used a similar ingredient: salt. They thought since you preserved fish with salt, that meant the Egyptians were doing the same thing with their dead, since they were also using salt. And that notion spread like an STD. But what the Victorian researchers failed to see was that the salty thing that the ancient Egyptians used was not the same as the actual salt that is used to keep fish fresh. They used what is called natron, which is a naturally produced mineral with a mix of sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, sodium chloride, and sodium sulfate. And this was found in large amounts on lake beds near the Nile. But most importantly, it was used in temple rituals and applied to statues of gods. Basically, it was a cleansing and ritualistic ingredient to make one acceptable to the gods. That is why it was an important part of the process of mummification. Another ingredient that added to this belief was the incense. The ancient Egyptian word for incense was senetjer, which literally means to make divine. They believed burning incense in a temple would make it holy or divine. So with that assumption, using incense resins and natron on a body was to make the body divine and into a godly being, not necessarily preserving it. Even the removal of internal organs meant something deeper and more spiritual to the Egyptians. It's basically about turning the body into a divine statue because the body has been transformed. Like Egyptians, Victorian Egyptologists also believed that the deceased would need their bodies in the afterlife, which added more belief to the misunderstanding of mummification, a classic misinterpretation of facts and beliefs. As part of the exhibit from the Manchester Museum, the museum showed a number of ancient Egyptian burial masks, panel pictures and sarcophagi, which show more about the original intentions of mummification. So, we ask again, how old were you when you discovered that mummification has nothing to do with the preservation of dead bodies? Let us know in the comment section. That is all we have for you today. Click the subscribe button and the like button if you found this video informative. Especially if this is the first time you are hearing this piece of information you can use to impress a date. Also, hit the little bell so you get notified when we post new informative videos like this just for you. Thank you for watching. Till next time.